reference guide to know the processes of liens. And that completes that section. And then we're going to Appendix E, which is about 30 pages next into the NASCO manual. And that does take a tab, and that's a contractor entry E1. And this is the general Virginia contractor licensing and requirements and minimums and maximums that any contractor can perform. And we'll go down and highlight the salient information that's usually asked on the test. So, for example, you'll highlight Class A contractors, single contractor projects under $120,000, and skip to within 12-month period is $750,000 or more. And then Class B is single contractor project is $10,000 more but less than $120,000, and then skip to where it says any 12-month period is $150,000 more but less than $750,000. And then Class C, single contract project is $1,000 but less than $10,000, and the 12-month period is less than $150,000. Okay. Let's get down to third paragraph. Designated employee means contractor's full-time employees who is at least 18 years of age who has successfully completed the oral written examination by the board on behalf of the contractor. And the bottom sentence of that page, value means fair market value when the improvements are performed supervised by the contractor. Contract price shall be prima facie evidence of value. And let's get to the next page, E-2. Exemption failure to obtain certificate of occupancy and penalties. And it says, shall not apply. You want to highlight that and then go to item number 7. Second sentence, item number 7 is one primary residence owned by him and or used during the 24-month period. And the second sentence on item number 8 is a bona fide gift to a member of his immediate family provided such member lives in the house. Okay, so we'll need a certificate obviously for either one of those. And then on the next page, board for contractor membership. Offices meeting sealed record. You want to highlight the next paragraph. The board shall meet at least once each year. So Virginia's DPR board meets at least once each year. And on page E5, and this is the last paragraph. This is the last sentence of the first paragraph. Starts with if the applicant is a corporation. I should note that this is under the application for Class A license fees, examined issuance. Should highlight the top of that there. And it says, if the applicant is a corporation, shall furnish to the board the names and addresses of all officers of the corporation. The applicant is a joint venture, which furnish the board the names of each member of the joint venture and any sole proprietor, general partner of the partnership, member of any association or officer of the corporation is a member of the joint venture. And the application shall thereafter be kept the board advised of any changes to the above information. So that's under Class A. And application, if the applicant's a corporation or joint venture. And then we'll go to E7. And midway down E7 is, want to highlight grounds for denial or revocation of license or certificate. And it says the board shall have the power to require remedial education, suspend, revoke, or deny renewal of the license or certificate of any contractor who is found to be in violation of statutes or regulation governing the practice of licensed or certified contractors in the Commonwealth. So the board can revoke your license. You need to know that. And then on the next page, E-8, and halfway down there, non-resident bidder to appoint statutory agent for service process. And then you want to highlight where it says non-resident person of foreign corporation by written power of attorney shall appoint director as his agent. And then under that, filing of hearing of charges, the first sentence says any person may file complaints against any contractor licensed or certified in pursuant to this chapter. Okay. And then you want to go to the next page, under prohibited acts, section B, page E9. It says any person who undertakes the work without valid Virginia contractor's license or certificate, skip the sentence, shall be fined an amount not to exceed $500 a day for each day such person is in violation. So know that it's $500 a day if you perform work without the contractor's license. And then the next page, E10, halfway down there, definitions. We want to highlight biennium, means 2-year period. We want to highlight claimant, means a person with an unsatisfied judgment involving residential construction. And then we'll highlight improper or dishonest conduct, and then skip to the term improper or dishonest conduct does not include a mere breach of contract. Okay, and then skip down to the next section, assessments by director, assignment of fund, minimum balance. And section 8 says each initial regular at the time of the application will be assessed $25, which will be specifically assigned to the contractor fund. That's the contractor recovery fund. Initial payments may be incorporated in any application for payment and transferred to the fund by the director within 30 days. And then on page E11, section B, the minimum balance of the fund shall be $400,000. And then last sentence in that paragraph says no regulant shall be assessed a total amount more than $50 during any biennium. And under that, notice of regulants of these assessments shall be by first-class mail. Payment assessments shall be made by first-class mail addressed to the director within 45 days after mailing the notice of regulants. And skipping, and then paragraph C there, skipping the fourth line, says, after mailing second notice, the license of the regulant shall be automatically suspended. So if they send you a notice in the mail and you don't reply after the 45 days, then they will revoke your license. And then go into recovery from the fund in generally, and then paragraph 3, and it says, for judgments entered after July 1st, 1996, a verified claim shall be filed within the direct no later than 12 months after the judgment became final. So after they get a judgment against you, they put a notice in the transaction recovery fund. It should be no less than 12 months. And this page E11 also gets the transaction recovery fund tab, if you haven't already put it on there. And then going on to page E-12, and we'll go to the bottom of that page. It says, limitations upon recovery from the fund, certain actions may not a bar to recovery. And you want to highlight maximum claim, and then skip to a single transaction involving contracting is limited to $20,000. And then it continues on to page E13, the top B, the aggregate claim, skip to, is limited by the board to $40,000 during any biennium. Okay? And then paragraph C, last sentence of paragraph C says, such claim against the fund may include court costs and attorney's fees. So they may, the recovery from the fund also may include court costs and recovery attorney's fees. And then you want to skip down to revocation of license and payment from the fund. It says, in the second sentence, it says, any regulant whose license is revoked shall not be eligible to apply for a license as contractor until the regulant has repaid in full the amount paid from the fund on his account plus interest at the judgment rate of the interest rate from the date of the payment. So if they pay on your behalf, you will not be able to get your license back until you repay the fund. And we will skip to page E15, in the third paragraph down, or second section down. Application for licensure fees examination, issues waiver examination for water well systems providers. And under paragraph A there, it says any individual desiring to be licensed as a trademan. And then let's skip down to the second paragraph, where it says the applicant shall be required by the Board of Regulations to take an oral or written examination. Okay. And let's go on to Appendix F, and that's the Virginia Board for Contractors Regulation. And we want to go halfway down to full-time employee. Highlight full-time employee means employee who spends a minimum of 30 hours a week carrying out the work of a licensed contracting business. And go down and skip down to net worth means assets minus liabilities. And then on to page F-2, it says, you want to skip to under definitions of license classifications. You want to go to the second paragraph there. It says building contractors, abbreviation BLD, means an individuals who contracts include construction on real property owned, controlled, or leased by another person in commercial, industrial, institutional, government, residential, single-family, two-family, multiple dwelling. And that BLD is, by definition, in another test, is they call it the BLD test, or they call it the specialty exam. And that's another test and exam prep that we offer for BLD contractors. And that allows you to build from the ground up. And it starts with the foundation on up. Anybody that has BLD can pretty much do anything in the state of Virginia, building-wise. And page F3, this page also gets a tab, specialty license. Okay. So the BLD is considered a specialty license, that gets a specialty license tab. And we will skip over to page F-9, also gets this tab, licensing requirements. And we'll start with the Class C, highlight Class C. And let's go to number 1, is at least 18 years or old. Number 2, has a minimum 2 years experience in classification, especially which is a qualifier. Number 3 is full-time employee of the firm and defined as a chapter as a member of the responsible management of the firm. And let's go down to paragraph C. The firm shall provide the information of the past 5 years of the application, any outstanding past due debts, judgments, outstanding tax obligations. And we'll go to the next page, F10. And E1 says, must also disclose all misdemeanor convictions within 3 years of the date of application, and number 2, all felony convictions during the lifetime. And then let's highlight requirements for a Class B. And number 3, has passed the board-approved examination as required by the Code of Virginia, has been exempted from the exam in all accordance with the Code of Virginia. Okay. And Class C has a minimum of 3 years experience in the classification, especially for which he's a qualifier. And then page F11, you want to go down to paragraph D, where second part of the sentence says the firm shall state a net worth of $15,000 or more. This is still under Class B requirements. Okay. And then we'll go to page F-12, requirements for a Class A license, and go to paragraph C2. It says has a minimum of 5 years experience for the classification, or especially for which he is a qualifier. And then paragraph D, second sentence, shall state a net worth or equity of $45,000 or more. Okay. And then let's get to fees. Bottom of page F-13, fees. Each check or money order should be made payable to the Treasurer of Virginia. Gotta get their money. And then F-14, let's go there's all your fee schedule there, and under that you notice it says note $25 recovery fund assessment is also required for each initial license application. That's for the transaction recovery fund. And again, we know the transaction recovery fund minimum has $400,000 balance. Just reiterating that so you'll memorize it. Renewal requirement. License under this chapter shall expire 2 years from last day of the month in which they were issued. Procedure for renewal. Mail a notice of renewal, license and the last known address or record. DPR will send you a notice for renewal. And then renewal fees. And highlight renewal fees and then skip over to page F-15 and there's all the chart of renewal fees for class A, B, and C. And then note that it says under that the date on which the renewal fee is received by DPOR is determined whether the license is eligible for renewal or must apply for reinstatement. And then there's a whole other highlights for reinstatement fees. Make sure you highlight those and you know what those are. And then the last sentence of that paragraph says no reinstatement will be once 1 year from the expiration date the license has passed. Which means if you let it expire, you have to go all the way back to the beginning in Virginia. That means you have to take a pre-license course and everything. So do not let your license expire and know when those fees are. So that will be on the test. Know when those fees are for A, B, and C. And then we'll go into page F-16. Change of business entity requires a new license, and then midway down the page says licenses are to be issued to firms as found in this chapter are not transferable. And what does that mean? If you change your business entity, you get a new business corporation file, and then you're going to have to get a new license. Okay? You get to repay those fees again. And then at the bottom of that page says any change of officer, corporation manager, liability of officers, directors, association shall be reported to the board within 90 days. And then carrying on page F-17, paragraph B, any change of designated employee shall be reported to the form within 90 days. And then paragraph C says any change of qualified individual shall be reported to the form within 45 days. Okay? And then under that change of name and address, the licensee must operate under the name in which the license is issued. Name change shall be reported to the license board within 30 days. And then paragraph B, a change in the address shall be reported to the board within 30 days. And then under that fees, you want to highlight this fee schedule, again, change to designated employee, change to qualified individual, and additional classifications or special name. Okay, and then let's go to F-18, filing charges and prohibited acts. Paragraph A says all complaints against contractors may be filed at the DPOR at any time during business hours, and the following are prohibited acts. Paragraph B, and on item number 8, you want to highlight in residential contracting, and then skip down to make use of illegible written contracts clearly specifying the terms and conditions of the work performed. Then in paragraph 9, and this last part of that sentence says which contains the following minimum requirements. A, when work is begin an estimated completion date. B, statement of the total costs. C, a listing of specified materials. D, plain language exculpatory clause. And E, statement of insurance. Contractor will comply with all local requirements. D, disclosure of the cancellation of rights of the parties. Continuing on page F-19, paragraph G, contracts resulting from door-to-door solicitation. Acknowledged by the consumer, he's been provided with the Red Department, DPOR, statement of protection through the Board of Contractors. Paragraph H, contractor's name, address, and number, and everything. And I, statement provided any modification of the contract is performed. Completion date must be in writing by all parties. Then item number 10, failure to make prompt delivery to the consumer before the commencement of work. And then number 11, failure of the contractor to maintain in a period of 5 years the date of the contract completed. Legible copy of all documents related to that contract. Remember, 5 years. You got to keep your contract on board for 5 years. Then item number 14, abandonment defined as a justified cessation of work under the contract for 30 days or more. So abandonment is 30 days or more. And then F-20 is item number 30, failure to honor the terms and conditions of the warranty. And item 31, failure to obtain written change orders which are signed by both the consumer and the licensee and his agent and or his agent to an already existing contract. Okay, and then we're going to skip to page F-22. The consumer information sheet is provided through the Board of Contractors and may be produced but not altered. Okay, and we will go on to the next section is Virginia Mechanics Materialman's Lien Law. This is all about lien law, and it takes the lien law tab, G3, and we'll start with the section 43401, posting of billing permit, identification of mechanics lien and agent in the building permit, notice of mechanics lien, lead agent, and effective notice. Paragraph A, the building permit of any one or two family residential dwelling issued a permit pursuant to the Uniform Statewide Building Code shall be conspicuously and continuously posted on the property for which the permit is issued until all work is completed on the property. So you must take the permit once you get it. And then we'll skip to page G5, and memorandum for mechanics lien claim by the general contractor. This is what the lien looks like. And then skip to page G14. And G14, priority among liens protected under this chapter. There should be no priority among liens created and perfected under this chapter except the lien of the subcontractor shall be preferred to that of this general contractor. So the subs will get paid first. The lien of the persons performing labor or furnishing materials and subcontractor shall be referred to that of such as a subcontractor. The liens filed by persons performing manual labor shall have priority over material to the extent of the labor performed during the 30 days immediately preceding the date of the performance of the last labor. So labor gets priority over material. Okay. And we will go on to the Virginia Employment Commission's handbook, and then we'll start with page H-4, last paragraph there. Unemployment taxable wage base. You pay state employment tax only to the first $8,000 of wages earned for each employee during a calendar year. Okay, $8,000. And we have referenced that before already. And then this also gets the employer handbook tab. H5, page H5 gets the employer handbook tab. And then we'll go to H9, reporting requirements. And then halfway down that, you'll see the second sentence, employer payroll records must be maintained for an auditing purpose for a period of 4 years from the date wages were paid or payable. Okay? So we'll do that 4 years for employment law. And then we'll go to Appendix K, which takes the erosion control tab. And this is at the bottom of the page, we have erosion impact area. We want to highlight that and then skip to the second sentence. That definition shall not apply to any lot or parcel of land 10,000 square feet or less. Okay, so erosion impact area does not apply to a parcel of 10,000 of land of 10,000 square feet or less. And then the next paragraph, land disturbing activity, skip to shall not include, and then we'll go to the next page. And item number 4, it says septic tank lines or drainage fields unless included in an overall plan for land disturbing activity. Okay, so again, that's land disturbing activity should not include septic tank lines or drainage fields. All right, and then item number 9, disturbed land areas of less than 10,000 square feet in size. And then skipping to the last sentence in that paragraph says, however, the governing body of the program authority may reduce this exception to a smaller area of disturbed land or qualify the conditions under which this exception shall apply. And we'll skip to K7, and on the right hand, on the paragraph K, let's see, that's the third sentence. It says the civil penalty for any one violation shall be not less than $100 nor more than $1,000 for each day during which the violation found to existed. And then skip to civil penalties which exceed $10,000. Okay. And then the bottom of that page, K7, paragraph B, the VESCP authority shall review erosion and sediment control plan submitted to it and grant written approval within 60 days of receipt of the plan. And then we're going to go to 18. This is K-18. This is minimum standards and erosion and sediment control program adopted by the district or locality must be consistent with the following criteria and techniques and methods. Item number 1. Permanent or temporary soil stabilization shall be applied to denuded areas within 7 days after final grade is reached on any portion of the site. Temporary soil stabilization shall be applied within 7 days to denuded areas that may not be final grade but will remain dormant for longer than 30 days. Permanent stabilization shall be applied to areas that are not be left dormant for more than 1 year. Okay, so that's minimum standards for erosion control. And then on page K19, we have at the top of the page, under paragraph 6A, it says the minimum storage capacity of sediment trap shall be 134 cubic yards per acre of drainage area, and the trap shall only control drainage areas of less than 3 acres. So you have to have a sediment control trap and a storage capacity of 134 cubic yards of every 3 acres. Remember that. And at the bottom of that page, item number 16, underground utility lines shall be installed in accordance with the following standards in addition to other applicable criteria. No more than 500 linear feet of trench may be opened at one time, and D, excavated material shall be placed on the uphill side of trenches. And this also takes the tab erosion and minimum standards, K19. And then Appendix L, and this is excerpts from the Virginia Occupational Safety Health Regulations, or the Virginia OSHA, as they call it. And start with A, water supply, and then you want to go to item number 3, the water shall be dispensed in a single-use drinking cups by fountain or by fountains. The use of a common drinking cup is prohibited. And then at the bottom of that page, toilet and hand wash facilities is 1 toilet and hand wash facilities shall be provided for each 20 employees or fraction thereof. So 1/4 John per 20 people. Remember that. And then we'll go to the Virginia Tax Withholding Guide. This takes a tab as well. And you want to go to highlight filing status there on the next page in the table of contents. And then we go to when to file, the bottom right hand side of that page, 3. It says for a title filing, your return must be postmarked or received on before the due date. And payments, the bottom of page 5, left-hand column, payments exempt from withholding, and then it goes over to the right-hand side, to the second arrow, payments must be made from an individual retirement account or simplified employee's pension plan. Okay, that's payments exempt from withholding.